This is Behind the Mic with Kirkus Reviews, where the subjects are audiobooks and the actors who narrate them. I'm Jo Reed, and joining me today is Alex Ritchie. Hello, Alex.
Hi, Jo.
Tell me 3 books. What are they?
All right, so today we're going to talk about Half His Age by Jennette McCurdy, narrated by the author. We're going to discuss Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibañez, narrated by Beatrice Grannò. And finally, The Book of Blood and Roses by Annie Summerlee, narrated by Katie Leung.
All right, let us begin with Half His Age. Jennette McCurdy, explain who she is for listeners who might not know.
Sure. So she is a child actress who I grew up watching. So I've always loved Jennette McCurdy. She wrote the memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died. That was a few years ago, and it got a lot of people's attention at the time because that is such a striking title. But it was a memoir about her time as a child actress around her mother. And Half His Age is her first work of fiction. So I was really excited to get this one.
All right, tell us about this one.
So for this one, we have 17-year-old Waldo, which is just a great name for a main character.
Absolutely.
And she is endlessly wanting. She wants to be liked, so she buys all these clothes and makeup that she doesn't need, doesn't even really like, in order to make herself into someone that everybody else likes. But her latest desire is for Mr. Corgi, her, I like to say, strikingly unremarkable creative writing teacher. And the two eventually enter into a secret affair.
Boy, is he strikingly unremarkable. I mean, he's paunchy. He's kind of a loser, sad sack.
Right.
I was left baffled.
Yes.
But compelled at the same time.
Right? Like, you can't help but feel like the way that the prose works just helps you to sort of see her perspective. But at the same time, like, the narration, it's very interesting, which is why I wanted to talk about it on the podcast. Because she's not putting a whole lot of drama into this performance. Her narration style is really restrained and flat. She doesn't vary her pitch much, and the delivery is often really dry. In some dialogue exchanges, it can even be tricky to keep track of who's talking. But for a story like this, it's a really smart decision to narrate this way. Because, you know, Waldo is a character that cares, but she doesn't want to look like she cares. As the reader, we know that she's really naive, but she doesn't want to look that way. She wants to look confident and mature. And the narration style really helps emphasize how much she doesn't care. We know she cares, but she doesn't really care.
She doesn't want to seem to care.
Exactly.
But I had a hard time with the narration. I really had to stop at a certain point and decided I really want to read this book because the writing is so good and fabulous observations, but her reading of it just left me cold.
You probably noticed the prose is vulgar. It's piercing almost. And like the narration doesn't comfort you through that. And it lays its main character bare for the listener and just unapologetically invites you to experience this with her.
I agree. And, you know, we should say it opens with a very graphic sex scene.
Yep. You know exactly what you're getting into.
And it's a compelling book. No question.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I'm bringing it up, because it's just so interesting.
Yeah, very much. So why don't we listen to a little bit? Set this up.
So we have a sound clip where Waldo is in class. She's listening to her creative writing teacher, Mr. Corgi, talk about how he chose a life of safety as a teacher instead of following his dream of becoming a novelist. And in this moment, she realizes that she is attracted to him.
This is Half His Age by Jennette McCurdy, and it's narrated by the author.
I chose being able to afford takeout from the Thai place on the corner over roughing it, living off of ramen noodles. I chose going to the game with the guys over submitting my short stories to publications. I chose catching up on my favorite TV show over finishing a draft. I chose comfort over betting on myself. My attraction to Mr. Corgi is instant. So sudden it's alarming, so palpable it's confusing. It's not that he's patently unattractive. He was clearly once a prize fighter. Once. But his looks have faded, atrophied, withered with the gross decay of glaring middle-agedness. And now all that's left are his deep eyes and charming smile, the last remains of a once good face. The guys I've hooked up with are all nice to look at. Maybe not chiseled-faced quarterbacks with newly minted abs, but the kinds of guys who have made at least a few girls' panties wet with their signature good feature, their pouty lips or their tan skin or their shaggy hair. And yet, what I feel toward Mr. Corgi is more intense than anything I felt toward any of them. So I guess attractiveness and attraction are different things. Maybe what I felt in the past was appreciation for a good physique or face or haircut, and maybe this is attraction, something more primal that makes less sense.
People can judge, I think, from this clip how they feel about her narration, because I promise you it does not deviate from this.
Right. Yep. It's like this the whole way through.
Exactly. But boy, it is such an interesting portrait of trying to become who you are from the outside in.
Well, that's a really good way to put it.
Really, really interesting. She's a good writer.
She is a great writer. I am excited to see what she comes out with next, honestly. I really liked this.
And I am very anxious to actually read the book because I like the way she challenges the listener or reader with her prose.
Yes.
All right, so now we go to Graceless Heart. Tell us about that.
So Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibañez and narrated by Beatrice Grannò. This is a historical romantasy set in 15th century Italy. And every time I get a chance to listen to something that takes place in Italy, I am so excited because it's one of my favorite languages.
And I am right behind you because I love Italian and Italy, and I can hear that language forever.
Oh yeah, and Grannò's narration was just music to my ears. This is a beautifully narrated audiobook. So we start out with Ravenna, who is magically gifted. She's an extremely talented sculptor, and in 15th century Italy, that's not something that a woman is supposed to be interested in. So that's already setting her apart as a character. And the powerful immortal Luni family is hosting a sculpting competition. And Ravenna sees this as an opportunity to win her brother's freedom because they promise a boon to the winner, and her brother is currently imprisoned. So she enters this competition, but magic is forbidden. And when her gift is accidentally revealed, the Luni family forcibly take her to Florence. And that's where we meet Saturnino de' Luni, who is the handsome heir of the family. Very handsome, but very forceful. He says she has to complete an impossible task. But despite how cold he is to her, she can't help but feel drawn to him.
Oh, God, let me tell you, her description of Saturnino is delicious.
Oh, I know.
It is so alluring, but what's interesting is also she describes him the way an artist would, talking about the planes of his face and jaw. Such a good description.
Yeah, it's a really good example of when the narrator plus the prose just completely elevate a story beyond what it could have been by itself.
I agree. I love her narration. This is the only book she seems to have narrated, though she was Mia in second season of The White Lotus.
I didn't know that. I definitely want to hear more from this narrator, so I hope that she enjoyed this experience and wants to keep going.
I agree. So tell us a little more.
Ravenna's magical talents draw the attention of both the Pope and the Medici, which is just another powerful Italian family. And Ravenna has to walk this really fine line as she navigates the politics of these three forces coming together, and also has to survive this situation somehow.
I thought it just set the place and the tone so beautifully. I felt like I was in Florence.
Oh yeah, Grannò immediately just immerses you in that setting. And her narration is so soft and melodic. It was just so comforting. And she also just, the way that she narrates, it's like there's a secret and she's letting you in on it.
Absolutely.
Which is great because there's so much political intrigue. And then on top of that, there's the forbidden romance situation that Ravenna finds herself in.
Exactly. It's like she's taking you into her confidence.
Yes. It's such a great way to narrate this audiobook.
And Ibañez, this is part of her Spellbound History Quartet. They're very different books. Each are a standalone, but they're set in various parts of the world at different times in history. What the River Knows is in 19th century Egypt. Together We Burn, medieval Spain. And here we are in 15th century Italy. I mean, she really loves history, and that research really shows, and not in a pedantic way at all, I think, in this writing. It's just a rich tapestry.
I love knowing that. I didn't realize that this was part of a series. So that's just because she's clearly very smart about Italy. So if she's doing these other cultures as well, that's a really good sign of just how passionate this author is, because you can tell when you're listening to this just how much the author loves this setting and how the narrator just brings it to life.
I agree. Let's hear a little because I love her voice.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to hear a sound sample. It's close to the very beginning of the audiobook where Ravenna is getting ready to visit her imprisoned brother, despite the fact that there's a curfew in place. So let's listen.
This is Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibañez, and it's narrated by Beatrice Grannò.
She'd been walking for what felt like hours, covered head to toe in a dark cloak that did its job too well. Despite the cold wind nipping at her cheeks, heat coated her skin. She didn't dare remove the hood, however. No one was allowed out of their homes past sunset. She swept her gaze up and down the cobbled street, ignoring the nervous energy bubbling in her belly. It was a risk to be out during the night at all with the curfew in full effect. But what was she supposed to do? Allow her younger brother to slowly starve? Absolutely not. Her pulse ticked hard in her throat. It was time to act, but carefully. There were still those loyal to Florence, hidden within the city, still those in thrall to the accursed Medici family. And it was because of that family her home lay in ruins.
Aside from her ability to inhabit characters, and I was never lost about who was speaking for a moment, the quality of her voice itself, with that slight huskiness, is gorgeous. And she really knows how to pace.
Yes, I agree. And you really get a sense for like the melody of being in Italy. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. I just so enjoyed this book.
Oh, yeah.
And the final book, ta-da! The Book of Blood and Roses by Annie Summerlee, narrated by Katie Leung.
This is a great audiobook because it's got the accents again, but this time we're doing Scottish accents. So Katie Leung's Scottish accent just drops you in the Scottish Highlands. It's immersive. It's really lovely to listen to. So what we have here is Rebecca is a vampire hunter, and her next assignment is to infiltrate a vampire university, which has newly opened itself up to human students, in order to find the very infamous Book of Blood and Roses, which is the title. And this is a book that is full of ways to kill vampires, and she's hoping that she can find it in order to get revenge for her slain parents who were slain years ago when she was a child.
I love the idea of a vampire university. And vampires actually really, truly scare me. But I didn't find this book scary.
No, this one isn't even a little bit scary. It's intriguing. It's interesting. It's like a mystery because you're trying to find that lost object.
Katie Leung is my new favorite narrator. Oh my God, I love her voice. She is wonderful.
Yep, when I found out she was doing this entire audiobook, I was like, yep, we are definitely listening to this one.
Absolutely, because she makes the listening experience both intimate and haunting, and she brings a grounded clarity to the story's supernatural part.
It's paranormal, but the way that she approaches it is it's serious and soft, and it's intriguing.
Very much so. And she really gives each character a distinct emotional shape, which isn't easy with vampires, by the way.
I know.
But she doesn't overstate the drama. She sort of lets the story's atmosphere deepen naturally.
I agree with you.
So there's more here, though.
There is. So as soon as Rebecca arrives, she finds out that her new roommate is a vampire. So that's already setting off some red flags for her. But not only is it a vampire, this is Elise Astra. She is from one of the most powerful vampire families, and she is so gorgeous that Rebecca can't tell if she wants to kiss her or kill her. It's a really fun dynamic that we just jump right into here.
Exactly. And Elise's place in the school is so reminiscent of that girl. The beautiful one from the good family who's Queen of the Hill.
Oh, yeah. You definitely get that sense from her. And when you say that Katie Leung can really get into the character and like uniquely deliver that, the way that Elise is portrayed is a really good example of that.
Absolutely. Why don't we hear a little bit? What are we going to hear?
So this is Rebecca. She is in her disguise as this new student, and she is being picked up at the station by a human who is a vampire's familiar.
All right, here we go. The Book of Blood and Roses by Annie Summerlee, narrated by Katie Leung.
You will have to adjust your sleeping schedule starting tomorrow, he says, eyes on the road. We leave the Highland capital behind, picking up speed on the motorway, heading south. Do you know what kind of place Tynahaina is? I ask. The murky waters of the loch appear to our right, and vanish just as tall trees envelop the road, moss-ridden trunks heavy with brown leaves. My master is a professor there, he says. So yes, I know quite a lot about Tynahaina. My skin crawls at the admission. You're a familiar? I try to sound curious and not disturbed. What made you choose that line of work? I want to control my own destiny, says the servant. My lips twitch and I focus my attention outside. I take it that you don't wish to become immortal. I'd rather die, I think.
I so appreciate everything about her narration. You know, she keeps the story vivid but never overwrought, and I feel like it's a performance that lets the narrative breathe while it sharpens its most resonant moments, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Like at that moment at the end especially is just, oh, it's just so intense.
But she just lays it there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is another actor who I hope loves narrating audiobooks, though she is in season 4 of Bridgerton.
Yes, I did hear about that. I'm so excited.
Exactly. So I watched the first season of Bridgerton and then I took a break, but I will watch.
I would also. That's exactly the way that I am. I watched season 1 forever ago, and like I've always meant to come back, but there has never been a better excuse. Now is the time.
Absolutely. Oh, 3 good books. You had a good week, Alex.
I did.
Thank you, and I really appreciate talking to you, and I'll talk to you next month.
All right. I'll talk to you then.
Okay. You've been listening to Behind the Mic with Kirkus Reviews. Support for Behind the Mic comes from Thomas Nelson Fiction, publisher of Without a Clue, a fun whodunit rom-com from Melissa Ferguson. It's read by Carissa Vacker and available on all audiobook platforms. Behind the Mic drops on Thursdays, but if you follow us, we'll simply appear in your feed. And while you're at it, follow Fully Booked by Kirkus Reviews. Fully Booked is the podcast for book lovers. Each Tuesday, host Megan Labrise brings you author interviews, industry insights, and recommendations from the bestseller list. Find your next great book on Fully Booked by Kirkus Reviews. You can follow Fully Booked and Behind the Mic on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, or wherever you get your podcasts. And then stop by kirkusreviews.com to check out reviews for both print and audiobooks. Behind the Mic is produced by Jessica Lockhart. Michelle Cobb, Stephen Cummings, Leslie Fine, Alan Minskoff, Alex Ritchie, Laura Rossi, and Kendra Winchester are our contributors. Jennifer Dahl is our editor with an assist from Alicia Langerman. And Tom Beer is the executive producer. The music is William Ross Chernoff's Nomads 4-Way. And I'm your host, Joe Reed. Good listening.